Hello, Professor Dede here. Today to talk about Chapter 6 related to political culture and socialization. In Chapter 5 video, I talked a little bit about socialization, and I'll probably reiterate a couple points because I feel it's that important to explain what goes on. Political culture is an important aspect when we think about what goes on in America as far as politics in general. Political culture refers to what people believe and feel about the government, how they think people should act towards the government. Culture affects politics and policies. Different cultures in different regions. If you think about globally, the Japanese are more differential than Americans to those in authority. We stereotype people based on culture. Germans more orderly, Irish, bunch of drunks, Latinos, not a very good temper. Stereotyping. Political culture and public opinion overlap, and look for general attitudes about politics. Political culture is not easy to change. Public opinion can change political culture, though. Public opinion looks for views about leaders and policies, as I talked about last time. Daniel Elazar, noted political scientist, defined political culture as attitudes, values, and beliefs and orientations that individuals in society hold, regardless of the political system. Political culture involves values about the political system. Public opinion involves views about specific issues. Elazar talked about three major aspects of political culture. Moral political culture, where government is seen as a positive force, serving the community, the core of political relationships, even at the expense of individual loyalties and friendships. This type of political culture is popular in the Northeast and also popular in the upper Midwest and portions of the far West. Individual political culture, government is seen as having a very practical orientation. Emphasis is on limiting community and government intervention in the private affairs. At times in this system, there is cynicism about government. Dirty politics at times is accepted as a way to get things done. This type of culture reigns in the mid-Atlantic states through Illinois into the West. Traditional political culture, social and family ties are prominent. This reflects an older attitude. Government is a positive role in the community, but the role should be limited to securing and maintaining the existing order. In other words, not a lot of change. Political leaders play a conservative and custodial role rather than being innovative. Limited government is viewed as best. This type of culture is common in the Deep South. Participation in America. How do citizens participate in society? Well, you participate by voting, and you participate by volunteering. Political science Sidney Verba, his work summarized life in one word, and it was participation. The question is, whose voice is heard by government? Verba wrote that Americans like to form groups to solve problems. Allman and Verba wrote a lot about this. Verba wrote that Americans like to form groups, as I said, to solve problems and figure out things in life. Strength in numbers if you want to think about it. Allman and Verba also came up with the expression, let sleeping dogs lie, the theory of democratic political culture. Leaders know that citizens pay little attention to politics, and if they are aroused, citizens will vote the leaders out of office. Leaders therefore work to keep citizens passive and quiet. A vibrant, developed society is the bedrock of democracy. More citizens are willing to criticize the government, the more democracy is improved. As you can see in Russia, that doesn't happen. Democratic political culture says an attitude, if aroused, citizens will turn out and get excited. They'll participate. They'll decide they want to make a difference. In advanced democracies, though, the problem is people are growing more cynical. Voter turnout has declined. Apathy is the word of the day. There's a decline among people that form associations. People talk about their friends. And 30 years ago, friends were people you saw. Today, friends are people you know on Facebook. That's how much things have changed. People don't get out enough. Some argue that the growth of distrust in government is natural and not necessarily bad. Politicians promise more and more but can't deliver. I talked previous about elite and subcultures, and I want to get into other types of cultures too. There are minority subcultures. Poor and less educated more consistently, they vote Democratic. These subcultures dislike being ruled by a dominant culture. Think about French speakers in Quebec, the Basque in Spain, Roman Catholics in Northern Ireland. Some groups are still not fully integrated in society. World societies are becoming more minority-majority based. Hispanics in the United States, more Islamic groups. The standard of living in lower economic societies means more births and more subcultures, and they're gaining power. The poorer people are, the more children they'll have. One of the most important people in this whole idea of political culture is a man named Alexis De Tocqueville. He was a French political thinker and historian, known for his book Democracy in America. He explored the effects of rising inequality and social conditions on the individual and the state in his travels across the country in the early 19th century, around the 1830s and 40s. It's considered an early work of sociology and political science. In Democracy in America, he wrote of the New World and its growing democratic order. It was very different from Europe. He saw democracy as an equation balancing liberty and equality, concern for the individual as well as the community. De Tocqueville wrote, "Americans are so enamored with equality, they would rather be equal in slavery than unequal in freedom." De Tocqueville felt that the coming together of people for a common purpose, both public and private, binds Americans to the idea of a nation larger than its self-interest, making self-conscious and active political and civil society, people getting involved. De Tocqueville tried to understand why America was different from Europe in the last throes of aristocracy of the 1800s. America was a society where hard work and money-making was a dominant ethic. In other words, if you work hard to become successful, you could rise. Where the common man enjoyed a level of dignity which was unprecedented, where commoners never deferred to elites, and where individualism and market capitalism had taken root. De Tocqueville wrote, "Among the democratic people, where there is no hereditary wealth, every man works to earn a living. Labor is held in honor. Prejudice is not against it, but in its favor." In Europe, he claimed nobody cared about making money. The lower class had no hope of rising, so they settled into their lives. Whereas in America, people said, if I work hard enough, I can be rich too, I can be successful. De Tocqueville was also a prophet when he wrote, "There are now two great nations in the world, starting from different points, seeming to advance towards the same goal, Russia and the United States. Each seems called by some secret design of providence, one day to hold in its hands the destinies of the world." Finally, in the video from Chapter 5, I talked a lot about political socialization, how important it is as far as how people define their political ideas. I want to conclude with, I want you to think about this. How did you become the Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, etc. that you are? And you became that way not because you woke up that one day or you were born that way. You woke up that way and became that person through family, through friends, through being exposed to things, through people saying things one way or another. As I mentioned, family, school, and education, peer groups, all those factors influence your political socialization and how you became the person you are. And those are very important things when you look at and examine and try to understand people and what makes them tick. The people on January 6th, they thought they were doing the right thing based on their socialization and how they were brought up. Other people saw it the complete opposite way for a variety of good reasons. So when you look at people of different political stripes, they're not bad people. They were raised a certain way in a certain style to learn certain things and behave a certain way. How their culture developed, whether it was a liberal culture or a conservative culture. Most importantly of all, take care. Have a great day.